Don't abandon the fundamentals that are within the book or just within the process, because if you follow them in the way that they're modeled, like, it will work for you.
You're listening to the Endless Customers podcast, brought to you by the team at Impact. Endless Customers is the proven system to become the most known and trusted brand in your market. If you want to start to learn the principles of Endless Customers and how you can implement them in your business, pick up a copy of Endless Customers, a national bestseller wherever books are sold. Ready to start implementing Endless Customers in your business? Talk to Impact about how our coaching program can help you implement Endless Customers to success. And if you want to experience Endless Customers in person, do not miss our upcoming conference, Endless Customers Live, in Hartford, October 5th through the 7th, 2026. Registration is now open. And now, onto the show. Here's your host, Alex Winter.
Today's episode is about one of the hardest trust-building decisions a company can make: choosing to address negative reviews publicly instead of hoping buyers never see them. Let's face it, most businesses instinctively want to protect the brand, minimize the criticism, or move the conversation offline. But what happens when you do the opposite and use transparency to build even more confidence? Joining us today are Mark Rodgers, he's the president and founder of Trailstone Insurance, and Marquece Cunningham, he's the marketing director at Trailstone, to share their story behind their decisions to turn bad reviews into video content. In this conversation, we're going to dig into the internal resistance they had to work through, how their coaching and the 4 pillars of a known and trusted brand helped shape their strategy, and what they've seen since publishing. More than anything, this is a story about leadership, trust, and what can happen when you choose to answer the questions and concerns buyers are already thinking about. Mark and Marquise, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we're really happy to have you guys here. We got a lot of ground to cover today. It's going to be an awesome conversation. But before we get into it, maybe Mark, if you could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and then the company, and then Marquise will go to you as well. I just want to set the stage for our viewers and our listeners about who you are and what you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. So started Trailstone Insurance Group. It's an independent insurance agency back in 2013, scratch agency, just with myself. And really was focused on was taking care of customers, and it was kind of our core value: treat other people the way you want to be treated from the get-go. And we were able to do that better than the State Farms of the world and so on. But about 5 years into that journey, we decided that we needed to grow a little bit larger to compete with the Amazons, the Googles, the venture capitalists that want to buy up all these independents. And so we had about 7 people in 2019, and now we are approaching 70 people.
Oh, wow.
Total in the agency. So, yeah. So we've grown quite a bit, primarily through really just documenting everything we do, standardizing it, and then lather, rinse, repeat. We brought Endless Customers, or They Ask You Answer, into the agency a couple, 3 years ago, and it took a little bit to get started. It took an Impact Plus or 2 to kind of get things under our belt and going. But now we have the whole leadership team that's attended at least 2, if not 3 or 4 Impact Plus, and we're going in a great direction there. So our growth has been great. But we operate in 7 states, primarily in the West. We are headquartered here in Colorado.
Very nice. I love Colorado. And Marquise, how about you? You're the marketing director. Can you just give people a little bit about your background and what you do at Trailstone?
Yeah. So Marquise, I've worked in marketing for almost 20 years at this point. Primarily, my background was in SaaS and software. I joined Trailstone almost a year. So in June of 2025. And really, I pay close attention to everything we do across all of our digital platforms. Content is really big at the forefront of what we do here. So we have a studio in our office. We have filming days. I worked really closely with the Impact team to redesign our website that we had launched in Q4 of last year. And I work really closely with Mark and the rest of our leadership team in terms of, getting the messaging around what we do here at Trailstone, which I know we'll talk a bit more. But yeah, that's me, and happy to be on the podcast today.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you. I can't wait to dive into all that stuff, especially the video. You've been doing a lot of really cool things with video, but also seamlessly through the organization. It seems like everyone's on the same page. Everyone's really like paddling in the same direction. Mark, this one's for you. What made you, or like, when was the moment when you were like, endless customers is the answer, and I got to get the whole company doing this, and like picking up the vision and just really implementing it inside of Trailstone?
We have one of our core values is heart of a teacher. That comes from Dave Ramsey. So we are Dave Ramsey endorsed. And so the Ask You Answer resonates with that. All we're doing is educating people, helping people understand more about insurance and all. And so when I think I listened to the book originally in 2020 on a road trip, and then I read it, and then I got obsessed with it. And so, yeah, it's been something, because we had some leadership that weren't really buying into it. They just wanted to spend money on advertising, things like that. But it wasn't really bringing the right type of clients to us. We're primarily focused on home, auto, and commercial insurance clients. And the home and the auto client really wants to be educated. The person that just wants mono auto, meaning just an auto policy, and they're just trying to save $3 a month, is not our ideal client. So we don't market to that person. We typically market to the family that is looking for better coverage, or the homeowner, or the business owner that really needs some help understanding what they're doing. And so it's taken a little bit of time, but I would say over the last year and a half, as the leadership has kind of evolved or changed with some people and some seats, the attitudes have really grown to accept it. And now Marquise really leads that charge. We've done meetings in-house similar to your alignment day, where we go and we talk about, we have 5 systems that we actually operate inside of Trailstone. Marcus Sheridan talks about EOS and endless customers. We added a couple of other things there, but we talk about it on a quarterly basis because of our EOS state of the company and things like that. So it's taken time. In fact, we just did a poll yesterday, and about half of our team has not read the book officially, from endless customers, and it's been out 15 months.
Yeah
it's constant, because we're insurance agents and insurance account managers, and a lot of those folks have come from other agencies, and they just want to they want to take care of people with insurance. They don't necessarily want to be on camera or whatever, but we've explained to them, hey, we're a media company, we're a technology company, and we're trying to build more trust through that.
Yeah, I love hearing you say that. You're a media company. That's something we hear Marcus say and is in the book. And I also have to note, you scaled the company pretty seriously, going from 7 people to 70 people. That's a lot to try to get everybody to read a book, to understand the vision, to get everyone like tracking in the same direction. So it sounds like you've done a lot of the legwork, and for the majority, that's what's happening. And so Marquise, I guess this is a question for you. I have a note here that says that video is so important, and that you want to tackle reviews, and you want your agents and team members to be on video as much as possible. Can you talk a little bit about how you do that and why it's so important for you as the marketing director?
Yeah, honestly, it's really goes into, the level of transparency, specifically within our industry. We don't see it a lot, and we want people to know that there are real humans behind the brand. So one of our pillars in the organization is Trailstone OS, which is our Trailstone operating system, and it means to be efficient, be human, and be accountable. And part of the human piece is getting the humans that do work here and help make our culture great on camera. So people can essentially associate, or have a relationship even prior to them getting on the phone with someone. They may feel like they already know them. So, getting folks within the organization on camera, and also just saying things that, a lot of people aren't willing to say on camera is also really important for us as well. But really it boils down to, that core focus of being able to not only share stories, but also, add an additional layer of trust with our marketing efforts. So people are like, they really care about us. They really care about the work that they're doing, because at the end of the day, we're protecting people's assets. We're not looking at our customers as just another number in a sense. So that's where the video component really hits home for us.
Yeah, I love hearing that. And I love that you said too, that it's not typical in your industry. And it's not. My insurance company, I'm with one of the big box insurance. They don't have videos like that. They don't do one-to-one videos. They don't answer reviews with videos. So it's really amazing to hear that you guys are doing that and have embraced it. But this note here is talking about how there's been some bad reviews and how you've addressed it on video. And I think we talk about this a lot internally here at Impact, where sometimes the ostrich effect happens. You get a bad review, or people don't want reviews and they stick their head in the sand because they don't want like, oh, it has to be 5 stars or nothing, right? And Mark's laughing. It's true though. People ostrich, they get scared, but you can't do that. And we know that avoiding those tough conversations makes you look even worse. It breaks trust. It makes people skeptical. So what have you been doing to mitigate some of those reviews, and how have you been using video to do that? Because it's pretty cool what you guys have been doing.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, what we've been doing to mitigate a lot of those bad reviews, well, one of our videos that we had done was the one with our 1-star reviews. And sure, we could have highlighted a lot of our really good reviews that we had that came across on our website. But again, we wanted to make it about building trust with our customers and back to our core values, which is one of our core values, which is treating people how they want to be treated, or treating others how you'd want to be treated. And part of that is, asking tough questions or answering tough questions. And if something comes through that isn't a good reflection of our agency, then we want to be able to address it and not just sweep it under the rug like a lot of companies will do. And we also wanted to show, where we may have came up short. Our goal is to be the best within this industry, and that was just the focus of ours.
I love that. I love hearing that, because disruption is a real thing. And I know it's kind of a cliche, overused word, but companies need to disrupt. And the best way to do that is to be honest. And I love your core value, treat others the way you want to be treated. That's a big deal. So
it's been on the golden rule, right?
I was going to say it is. I mean, it's old school.
Yeah.
It's old school, but it's the golden rule for a reason, right? And I think it's just interesting to hear that coming from the top down from you, Mark. So as you guys are starting to implement video, you're starting to think outside the box and create all this content that most people in your industry aren't doing. Was there resistance from your team members, or were there people that were like, I don't want to get in front of a camera. I don't want to do, like, what do you mean get in front of a camera? Did you have to navigate through some of that? And if so, can you just expand upon that for us?
We're still navigating through it.
Okay. That's fair.
Excuse me. We're still navigating through it. That's why we have every quarter kind of a mini alignment day, compared to what Impact does. And we talk about it. Hey, guys, we have to build trust. They have to see your eyes. And so, we know that there's probably 20% of our team that will never be on camera because they don't sleep for 2 nights before or whatever. But it's even part of our hiring process now. We send out videos to them, kind of an assignment videos for a prospective employee. And then Cynthia, our HR director, spends about 30 minutes on a Zoom call. Their next step, if they want to continue in the process, is to record 90 seconds on their cell phone on, hey, who are you? Why do you want to work at Trailstone? And we find that about 40% of the people are too scared to do that. But now we're screening those people out that are not going to come on board and fight us. They will go on camera. But there's little things. There's logistics. Marquise used Claude Code the other day to build a scheduling system that now has the script in there. And we generally have at any one time 5 to 10 scripts ready to go. And the people need to go in, schedule it. They can read the script. They can practice it ahead of time. And we're telling them, Marquise is only going to be on camera 40% of the time. The rest of y'all have to be there. We talk with their leaders in their departments to do that. And it's constant, but it's getting better and better. And the other thing too is, we put together a little video of bloopers and things like that show, hey, we all make bloops too. It's okay. And the cool thing is, we teach them just clap, stop, catch your breath, clap, and then just go on. And then the editor knows, okay, we got a blooper here, or we got something to stop. So I don't know, Marquise, you got anything to handle or add to that? You handle most of the stuff.
I think one of the biggest things you kind of spoke to is, having the systems in place that help make it easier for people to kind of, feel comfortable with getting on video. If they have the opportunity to sit with the script for, maybe 48 or 72 hours prior to jumping into the studio, then they feel a lot more comfortable. And part of it is too, like showing them that we do make mistakes. While I may have been on video primarily most of the time, there's still instances where I'll go in there, I'll read too fast, or I'll fumble over my words, or completely skip over a word, or say things incorrectly. But being able to take, those mess ups and share those with the team, it just humanizes what we do, really.
Yeah, build some camaraderie, gets people to laugh a little bit. You can't take it too seriously. I think I even said to you guys as a reframe before we started the show that like I'm probably going to mess up at some point too, and we'll just edit around it. You know, you just have to embrace it. It's part of the process, and it's like anything, right? It is scary at first. I'm usually behind the camera. Getting in front of the camera and doing the show for me was definitely a stretch out of my comfort zone. But with practice, you get more comfortable, you get better with it, and before long, I think the big piece is when you start to see the results from it. That's when it's really like, oh, hey, this is a game changer. This is working.
Yeah. To your viewers out there, I would say, I think it may have been Marcus, and they ask you answer. Maybe I heard it on his podcast, but you got to do at least 100 videos before you even start to understand what you're doing. But what we tell our team, our sales producers and account managers, they're not going to do 100 videos probably in their lifetime with us. But you're going to need to at least do 5 or 10 before you feel semi-comfortable. And so for the folks that are afraid of putting other people in front of there, you got to give them some grace. Let them go in there and mess up, have fun with it. Tell them they did a great job, even if it's not so great. The editors can clean up a lot of that. And, we can change that, especially if you're shooting with a couple of cameras, angles.
Absolutely.
And putting graphics and B-roll in. You can make it look pretty good, even if they're messing it up and look horrible.
Yep.
Yeah, well said. That's good advice right there. I'm curious, you had mentioned Alignment Day, and Alignment Day is a big day here at Impact when you start on the coaching program with Endless Customers. That's like the kickoff day. Everyone gets in a room and you roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty. It sounds like you're doing that every quarter, which is really cool that you're doing that internally. But I'm curious, how has it been for you guys working with Impact and the coaching team here and working with your coaches from an accountability standpoint, from implementing the system? Like, I'm just curious from each of your perspectives, how it's helped the trajectory of your journey with Endless Customers.
Go ahead, Mark. I'll let you take that one first.
So we started on the website, Impacting Coach first. That was about 1.5 years ago. And then we had some personnel changes and everything. That's when Marquise joined us. But I'm able to contrast that to the previous website provider that helped us build previous site. And it was really, hey, you got to have SEO, you got to have SEO, you got to have SEO. Everything is about lead generation. Nothing is about trust. It's just getting them to click into the funnel. And It didn't work. We were with them for a couple of years. And at the same time, I've already read They Ask You Answer and Endless Customers. And I'm saying, guys, have you even read this stuff? This is what I want. And it wasn't, it wasn't a cheap website. We spent a lot of money on that site, and it didn't perform, and it didn't live up to our values on how we, the 4 pillars of trust and our core values. It didn't live up to it. So the first thing that we did, we spent a lot of time with Tom, and he spent hours on the phone with us. Just what is important to you guys? What values do you want to project? And I think the website became a better representation of that. Because of it, because Impact went into it with the mindset of, first of all, understanding all of everything that's taught in Endless Customers, but also understanding who we are and how we operate with our customers. Heart of a teacher I brought up before, those type of things. So that's my perspective. I've been blown away by it. Marquise, how many websites have you developed? Like 300?
Yeah, close to 300. Yeah, over the course of my career across all platforms: Framer, Webflow, HubSpot, Squarespace, Wix, you name them.
Wow.
What was your contrast, or what your perspective coming to Impact? You didn't get a choice in the matter.
I did not get a choice.
When we hired Marquise, we're like, by the way, we're building a new website on HubSpot. He's like, okay, great.
Yeah. I will give props to Janet. She is our Impact coach, and she stayed on our butts like a hardcore, and very thorough in terms of how they were able to look at the website from a holistic perspective to understand all the different moving parts, and really kind of gave us just insight on setting up a website that we can scale with over time, specifically with AI and as different technologies and whatnot change. But it did force Mark, myself, and our sales director, Ken, to lock ourselves in a room probably for 4 or 5 hours at a time sometimes. And we have over 160 pages on our website, and we touched every single page, rewriting the copy, focusing on things on the back end in terms of alt tags, in terms of schema, in terms of images, and I mean, like you name it. And the Impact team, like they were very thorough in their systems and whatnot. And I had never worked on a website that required that many moving parts. So to get to the finish line, and we, in full transparency, we had to delay the website, but only by 1 week for our launch date. And typically, anytime you're dealing with tech or websites, like things can get pushed out a lot further. So
Yeah.
the fact that they were able to stay on top of us, and we were able to see it across the finish line just a week after our original launch date, it's a big feat.
That's a huge feat. Yeah. Congratulations
Yeah.
on that. Well done. Well done. I'm not surprised.
Thank you.
Janet is a web wizard. She's just incredible. I love working with her too. She knows so much. It's way over my pay grade. But I'm glad to hear that it went so well, and 160 pages to go through. That's a substantial amount of content to be looking at. So good for you guys. Wow. And I'm curious how many of those pages had video, or how many of those pages were you like, ooh, here's opportunity for video, or were you just focused on the web piece at that one point?
All of the pages needed video. And so Mark is our script writer, and we operate under the entrepreneurial operating system, so EOS.
Yeah.
So in that world, Mark reports to me as the script writer. And like we would just sit down and say, okay, we need a video for this page. We need a video for this page, this page, this page. And I mean, like we're still creating videos because we're only, human, and but there were almost all of the pages, and that was where we were able to get
34 what we call website videos, or WV videos.
Yeah, website
34
videos
that we identified originally that had to be done to launch.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't get there. I think we only launched with maybe 3.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
And then we've got, I don't know how many people on the website, about 50 or 60. Some of them are Philippine team, and we haven't put them on the team, but on the website, but of the 70. But those are bio videos that Marquise and his team are developing as well. So we're really trying to build trust there, before they meet us on the phone or in person.
Yeah,
that's the key. Assignment selling. I mean, that's the beauty of it right there. The best way to build trust is to let people see your team, and to not just tell people about it, but to show them who they are. Mark, you said it, look them in the eye. Like there's something to be said for that interaction. And I know it's a lot of work, but I also admire that you set a goal and maybe you didn't hit it. You wanted to do 36 or some odd videos and you only got 3 or 4, but you still launched, and you're going to keep iterating and keep adding to it. And I think that's something for business owners and marketing teams out there to hear, that like, it doesn't have to be perfect. And if you want 36 videos, but you only get 4 or 5, like it's okay to launch and then continue to the progression of like pushing yourselves and pushing the team and growing.
Yeah. Perfect is the enemy sometimes of growth. So you got to be careful there. You got to be focused on doing it right. But, if we had waited to go perfect, we probably would have launched until a month ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. So I'm curious. I like data, and especially since you guys are on HubSpot with your website, I know Janet probably did some back end stuff there too. Between the video, the website, all the things that you've been implementing as a team, what's the journey been like? Where did, like, from starting before launch until where you're at now today? Like, have you seen some changes in traction and leads coming in and quality of customers? Like, can we just talk a little bit about some of the results you guys have been having?
Sure. We're snickering because we changed the URL, and so we lost some of our SEO juice.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, we were Trailstone Insurance Group, and we moved it to Trailstone Insurance. And there was a lot of discussion with Janet and the Impact team on why we would do that.
Mm-hmm.
We had some issues with shadow listing because we had stuff being redirected from Trailstone Insurance Group and Trailstone Insurance. Anyway, long story short, our traffic volume did fall off by about 40% originally, and now it's come back to where it was previously. But the things that is really exciting to us, we had no idea what was happening with AI, and now HubSpot is actually tracking it. And the first week that Janet produced a report, I literally almost cried. I said, I can see the search string in ChatGPT. I can see what web page they clicked on, how long they were there. Then they clicked the form to get help. And then we reached out 20 minutes later, and we closed them like a week later. And that's not uncommon in our journey. We typically will sell somebody about 10 to 14 days after they make contact with us.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't believe it. I'm just like, wow, this is the holy grail. This is what we've been looking for. But now the volume is kind of getting back to where it was. We launched, what was the first week in November?
Yep. Early November.
So we are getting back to where we were on the volume. But even yesterday, our sales director was telling us the quality of the leads now are so much better. They're coming in pre-qualified, just like Endless Customers talks about. 80% of the journey is being done before they ever reach out for help.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're actually seeing that now, where these customers are closing about double what they were closing previously. But the volume has not come up that much yet. But we're just getting crawled by AEO and GEO.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. After a big reset like that, it does take a little bit of time. We did the same thing here at Impact where we changed our URL and traffic took a pretty serious dip for the initial piece. But then if you have everything set up correctly, it starts to ramp up and you'll start to get more of a groundswell. And it sounds like you really are. And also, I think it's important to point out, you had mentioned your previous website guys were like SEO, drive leads. The quality of your leads is more important than the quantity, in my opinion. And I think sometimes people forget that and they think if we just get a ton of leads in, we'll figure it out and it's a good problem to have. But I don't know if that's actually true. And the quality is so important because it's way less stress on your sales team. The people that are coming in trust you, they want to buy from you. I mean, you said it's the dream scenario. And I think it's cool to hear that that's what's happening for you guys. So bravo. Last big question for you guys. So can we talk a little bit about, and I mentioned this earlier, but the insurance game, there's a lot of preconceived ideas for consumers about insurance and this and that. You guys have done such a great job with your content, with your website, with everything you've been doing to build trust and to break through a lot of that noise or a lot of that like negative energy, if you will, or skepticism, right? How has that Endless Customers played into you creating that content or like disrupting your industry in a way that other people aren't? And like, how has that really affected your company as a whole?
You get that one, Marquise.
Ooh, that's a big question.
It is a big question. I know I'm putting you on the spot, Marquise, but it's one of those things where I think sometimes people in insurance, I think certain industries go like, oh, we can't make content and like this doesn't really apply to us. And it's really not true. And you guys have proven that that's not true. And you've been leveraging it to your advantage so well. And that's, I guess, where the root of the question is coming from.
Yeah, like I really think what it's about is putting yourself in the shoes of, what customers are looking for and what they're searching for. And honestly, just trying to build that relationship with them. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, there can be video content, there can just be content in general on it. And in our case, with insurance not necessarily being a sexy industry, we, in my opinion, always strive to do a really good job at making content that is interesting, that is educating people, falling under the formats of, that are within the Endless Customers framework, whether if it's the big five or whatever it may be. Those specific things are very much embedded into our script writing process, into the content we release across other digital channels, whatever it may be. So that way we've really created more or less like an ecosystem. So the same experience customers get when they jump on a phone with our sales team or with our service team is that same initial experience they had gotten when they first saw a video of myself or Mark or someone on the service team. And the big goal here was making sure that entire experience was cohesive all the way through.
Yeah. I love hearing that, especially from you, because you have so much experience. You said 20 years, 300 websites. My God, that's really substantial. How was it for you? Because like, let's just say you're an OG in the game. How was it for you learning this new system? And you had just mentioned the big five and the selling seven. I kind of have a similar background too, where like when I started to understand these systems, I was like, wow, this makes a lot of sense. And it wasn't it wasn't anything like I hadn't really done before, but it was packaged in a way that was like tangible and you could really apply it immediately and not have to like try to figure out all this gray area and interpretive stuff.
Yeah, so prior to joining Trailstone, I had never heard of, Endless Customers or Impact or any of that. But the model behind it, like I feel like it's very applicable to everything that I had done and even in some aspects of my personal life as well. But I would say the overall packaging and just the way that, or the time that I've had to digest it, whether if it's from the book or attending the conferences, whatever it may be, it's set up in a way that if you follow the framework, like, you will see success from it. The biggest thing is being able to commit to it. And we try to be a sounding board, for the rest of our team, that leadership is bought in on endless customers, and everyone else within the organization. It's basically a requirement. That way we can all be in alignment and have the same vision. But the biggest thing is being able to commit to it, because a lot of people will say, yeah, we're doing this, we're doing that, but you'll see areas where they may have fallen off, 2 months, 3 months, and it's like, oh, we got busy, whatever. But it started with Mark, and he's done a really good job at making sure that we don't deviate from that specific plan. And there are things and iterations that make changes, whether if it's through technology or personnel that joins, but it's deeply embedded within our culture.
It's apparent. It sounds like you guys are living, breathing this system, and it's great to see. Really great to see.
You brought it up. A package, excuse me, a package, is what endless customers is to us. When you the 4 pillars, the big 5 and the selling 7. When you put all that together, we just follow the process, and it's a lot easier than trying to invent it. We have invented a lot of things around here that are proprietary and that work very well for us, but they're always built around a system and a process. And so, endless customers, it was all we have to do is learn it and then start to execute on it. And EOS, much the same way, package. And we learned a long time ago, we tried to self-implement EOS, didn't work so well. So anybody out here aspiring for EOS, hire an implementer. It's going to cost you some money, but you're going to get way ahead. But the biggest thing that we did when we tried to self-implement EOS is, there's 6 components in that EOS wheel. We're only doing like 3 of them. And we thought we're doing great. We just picked and choose. Same thing, endless customers. Okay, we got to do it all. And let's try to do it to the best that we're taught and the best knowledge that we have available at the time, and that's evolving, AEO, GEO, and so on. But don't go halfway, and I'm really talking to your listeners that are thinking they're doing something really great, but at the same time, they're not doing all of it.
No, I appreciate what you're saying. And this is unsolicited, by the way. And it's true, because we're partners with EOS. We love the EOS system. We practice it here internally at Impact as well. And we know that EOS and endless customers pair really well together. They're just like a good symbiosis if you're trying to grow and scale your business. But it's also one of those things, to your point, Mark, where you think you can do it, and maybe you are doing some of it, but to have an implementer, to have an impact coach, to have somebody that's objectively looking at it from an outside perspective is going to give you a lot more direction, I would say, is probably the best way to put it, and keep you accountable, because it's easy to think you're doing the right things or think you got it and you're only doing 3 of the 6 or whatever the case is. And you need that.
The accountability is key.
Yeah.
Because we tell ourselves stories, hallucinations of, we're doing, like I said, whether it's the 4 pillars or whatever, or the 5 types of videos that you're trying to put out, you may not be doing it right, or you may not be doing it, maybe you don't have your story brand figured out. And so that's another thing that needs to be there too.
Yeah.
It's a package, it's a system. And that's one reason why I think it's working well for us, is we just follow the program.
What does the future look like for Trailstone in your eyes, Mark? Like, where do you see, we're in Q2 right now. What's the rest of the year look like, and maybe a few years into the future? What's your vision?
Oh boy. I say, oh boy, because we have a VTO.
That's why I'm laughing.
EOSers know that. And we just did our annual planning back in November, and we moved it to a 5, a 3, and a 1-year goal. And we're scrapping it almost, in 2 weeks. Primarily because of what we're seeing in the market. With customers, they're demanding price. We know that from every industry. As an independent insurance agent, we cannot deliver price because we don't set the price. And we have gone round and round and trying to figure out technology to provide them. We're using Price Guide AI right now. It's not good. The customers are not happy with what we're giving them. I'm not saying Price Guide is not good. That was a blessing for $400 or $500 a year. But so anyway, what does the future look like? We have to use AI in a way that we can deliver everything the customer's looking for, before they come to us. They also want to quote when they talk to us. They want to finalize the process in one 15-minute phone call. That's what they're doing at State Farm and all. We take 25 minutes to talk to them, and then we have to follow up with them. Typically, after it takes a couple 3 hours to get a quote done. Follow up, a day later. So we are revamping our whole VTO, and it's probably going to include hiring a developer, because we are able to design a lot of this stuff with Cloud Code now, but we can't deploy it very well because none of us know Python or back-end development, or even none of us know it.
Nope.
So that's why we chuckled, is because we're meeting with our implementer on May 8th, and I can see us kind of throwing the VTO out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's one thing. Why don't you talk about Sherpa, Marquise?
Yeah. So Sherpa actually dates me a bit to joining Trailstone, but basically one of the big initiatives that we have here, obviously lead generation and whatnot, but we also want to be able to serve some other verticals. So right now we're in insurance, but we want to be able to do insurance, mortgage, and loan officers as well. And with that, being able to essentially spin up a media company that educates those specific verticals and does lead generation through there, serving nationwide, essentially. So we'll create a ton of content around it. But being able to get to that point it's going to be ran through the system and the machine that we put together here at Trailstone, and then essentially replicate it over to another company that will spin off the sky's the limit with that one. But the big thing is content. It's at the forefront of everything we do here, and being able to do that.
And it sounds like you have the systems in place to be creating a lot of content and putting it on your new website. And I love hearing all the stuff that you guys have been doing. And for everybody out there watching and listening, we're going to drop a link for Trailstone's website and their content in the description. You definitely got to check it out. It's worth a watch. Any closing thoughts, guys, as we start to wrap up here, for our listeners and people out there who are just starting to hear about Endless Customers for the first time? What would you say to them if they're dipping their toe in the proverbial waters, going like, what is this Endless Customers that you speak of?
I would say stick with it, and that it's iterative. And since I've been with Trailstone, Mark has maybe reread the book 4 or 5 times, and continues to get new ideas from it. And don't abandon the fundamentals that are within the book or just within the process, because if you follow them in the way that they're modeled, like, it will work for you. That's my 2 cents. Mark's been doing it a bit longer than me, so he may have something different.
Yeah, I'm curious. Thank you, Marquise. And Mark, I'm curious about you. How many times have you read Endless Customers? What are we up to?
Not close to Chris Green. But no, and I don't think it's been 3 or 4 times, but I did listen to, I had a flight last week, and I put it on like 2.0. Have you ever listened to Marcus Sheridan on 2.0?
I have.
Audible? It's fast.
It is fast. Yeah. I've edited a lot of Marcus videos at 2.0, and it's, yeah.
So,
it's fun.
but it was inspiring, because I picked up the little things, and I think I even came back and I'm like, I'm a primary script writer, blog writer, and everything. And I told Marquise, I'm sorry, guys, I screwed up on this one. We need to probably reshoot this.
Mm-hmm.
So stay focused on what they teach in there, and just, you can't, they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And
yeah.
there's very few companies that are going to have the financial resources or the leadership teams bought in. Maybe you have the financial resources, but you don't have the team to buy in all at once. And so get them to an impact conference, and just somebody has to be the visionary on it, and then keep it going and don't stop. That's the main thing.
Keep it going.
I see.
Stop. Yep.
Yeah, I've introduced Endless Customers to probably 10 different insurance agencies. They'll read the book and they go, "Oh, that was great. I'm going to do something about that." And then, they change a blog on their website or something, but they really never do anything beyond that. And it's a lot of words, but not a lot of action. And even if the actions are micro steps, take them.
Yeah, great advice. And I think the conferences too, a shameless plug. We have conferences twice a year, Endless Customers Live in Hartford and in Chicago. You got to go check that out as well. It's a great way to get new ideas, especially when it comes to AI and trending tech and things that are happening in the marketing space and in the Endless Customer space. So with that, Marquise, thank you so much for being on the show and taking the time to share your story today. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having.
Absolutely. We'll have to check back in. And Mark, thank you too. Thank you so much for sharing your story and letting us peek behind the curtain at Trailstone.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. Happy to help anybody out there. So reach out.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll drop their info in the description so you can reach out if you have any further questions. But that's our show. This is Endless Customers. I'm your host, Alex Winter, and we will catch you on the next episode.